You can start. The stage is all yours.
Sure, thank you very much. And I'm assuming you can hear me. You can hear me fine,
Yes.
right?
Yes, I can hear you and I can also see your screen.
Sure, thank you. So I have shared my screen, and thank you for hosting me. And good evening or good afternoon or welcome along wherever you guys have connected from. Um, so my today is the second day of a boot camp, and I guess everyone must have enjoyed a lot of informative sessions um, throughout in these 2 days. At least I have enjoyed quite a few good sessions. It's almost the end of I guess the last day of a boot camp, and I got an opportunity to deliver one of the session, which is Power Apps and Power BI, and how we can leverage the two together. So let me start with where is my so let me start with some brief introduction of about me first, and then we can. Sorry, let me just adjust my screen. Looks like yep. So let me first start with a brief introduction of myself. My name is Khurram Jamshed. I am based in. Yep, sorry, I had lost the screen again. Yep. So I'm based in Melbourne, Australia. I work as team lead, solution architect, on the Power Platform area within my organization. Uh, I have I've been working for a while now. I have over 15 years plus experience as an overall working in an IT industry. Out of this, I've been working as a solution consultant for more than 10 years now. I have more of a expertise, I would say, in the development of a project and portfolio management solution, which at one point in time we were using Microsoft Project Server, Project Online, which was based on the SharePoint server, SharePoint Online. That was Microsoft's project and portfolio management solution, and that's what I was or I'm still on expert on. And it, for the last 2 3 years, we have since the Power Platform has been introduced, we have moved our solution from a project online the to the Power Platform, and we have been using Power Apps, Power BI, Power Automate, and all of these tools together. And um, we believe that we have established or developed a much more uh, effective solution on this platform, which because this platform is has been amazing. So that's what my expertise are, mainly using Power Platform. I've been working on a Power Platform for a while now. If anyone would like to connect after the session or find my content useful or would like to connect with me, you can easily find me on a LinkedIn. You can also I'm also actively use Twitter as well. Uh, until few years back, I was a very active blogger as well. I'm planning to get back to on that domain as well. So hopefully very soon, and then you will be able to find lot of my content through the blogs as well. Uh, that was some brief introduction, and let's jump into the session. So the session and agenda, which I have put together, is we'll start with some brief introduction of Power BI and Power Apps. We'll look into this Power Apps and Power BI on its own as well. Just a quick view just to set the context of a session. I'll probably be spending more time demoing the solution because that's what I found exciting when I at least attend any session, and I hope I will be able to deliver equally or hopefully more exciting demoing session for you guys. And then in the end, we'll try to have any question and answers if required. So let's start with some brief introduction of the session. So Power Platform, this is again just to set the context right before the actual session, because I would assume if anyone is listening to this, they would have already understood what Power Platform is capable of delivering. This is just to probably re-emphasize on the similar on the same thing. So the Power Platform, as we all know, is a combination of quite a few tools, which includes Power BI, which using Power BI we can create a lot of interactive reports. We can create developing an app, app solution where we can create different type of apps. We can use Power Automate to automate the whole business process, again, without writing or without inputting much code in it. And additionally, we can also create chatbots. There were a few sessions about creating a chatbots in this bootcamp as well. So it's a very exciting world, creating a chatbot which can answers on someone's behalf. So this also adds a lot of value to the solution which we deliver. And all of this all of this is possible thanks to common data service, which is now known as Dataverse, which is a simplified, unified, data structure where we can create data sets, define relationships, and all of this. So this is all on top of leveraging the data which is sitting in the common data services, now known as Dataverse. So that's what the Microsoft platform, Power Platform, is about. In today's session or in my session, we're going to talk more about these three components of the platform, which is Power BI, Power Apps, utilizing the data structure built in the common data services, and how both of these Power BI and Power Apps, how they both can talk to each other or how they can be integrated to each other in one of this scenario which we are going to discuss. Moving forward, we'll have a quick look to Power Apps first. So Power Apps, as you all know, is a highly productive development platform to develop apps. In general, it consists of the basic we can also create model-driven apps, which is based on your data set sitting in the Dataverse. We can also create portals, and we can define the whole data structure, the tables, the columns, the relationship between the data sets, all within the Dataverse. So these are our, the few main components of our Power Apps. Talking about Power Apps, and as you know, we can create two different type of apps. So the model-driven app, which is uh, fundament, so which is basically based on. So we first create a data set within the Dataverse. We do the data modeling. We define business processes, and we bring all of this together and publish it as a app, which within the Power Platform or within Power Apps, we call it as model-driven app, which is based on the data structure sitting within the Dataverse. So that's our one type of an app. Model-driven apps, they look very similar to whoever has an exposure to Dynamics CE and the apps within the Dynamics. They looks very similar to those apps. So you can create the forms and views and tables and all, and the business processes sitting on the top. So that's how you can identify any app which is a model-driven app, uh, because pretty much they look like look like these screenshots, which I have included here. And then comes into the play are the Canvas apps, which is Microsoft solution to developing a
Sorry to
customized
interrupt.
app.
Khurram.
Yep.
We are actually losing your connection again and again. So if you can stop your video so that you can save some bandwidth and then you can continue. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. I've stopped my camera, so I hope it will be better. And Faisal, if you can still find me, you know, I mean, if you still find an issue, just please jump in again.
Sure, I will. Thank you.
Sure. So we were talking about the Canvas apps. So after briefly talking about the model-driven apps, I was just giving a quick introduction about or quick overview about the Canvas app. That Canvas apps, they were um, so the Canvas app is another option given through the Power Platform and to create a customizable app without involving any code. So it's Microsoft's no code, low code solution to developing a customizable apps. And Canvas app, unlike the model-driven apps, they can look like the way you would like to look like them. I mean, you can have um, an app designed or developed for a mobile. You can have an app designed for the tabs. You can have an app designed for the a very responsive app which can fit in any type of a screen size. So very configurable, very customizable app we can develop through the Canvas apps. Moving forward, because in our today's session we will be talking more about or we'll be using the Canvas apps more in our demo today. So these are few of the scenarios where we can use Canvas apps. We can use Canvas apps along with the model driven app. So you can create your whole business application using a model driven app, and you can still have a Canvas app running along with a model driven app in order to deliver a certain functionality as part of your bigger solution, which is sitting within the model driven app. We can also use Canvas app. We can embed within a model driven app within a one of the forms of a model driven app. We can also create a standalone Canvas app running on top of a SharePoint list as a data repository instead of a Dataverse. I mean, or you can have a Canvas app running on. I think there is more than few data sources where you can have which can get connected with your Canvas app, and you can have your front end developed running using a Canvas app, and your data source is either in the Dataverse or SharePoint list or any other data source as well. So it's highly customizable. It can connect to several data sources, unlike model-driven app, which can only talk to the Dataverse in the background. And in today's session, what we're going to in today's session, we're going to focus on the Canvas app with the Power BI. So that's what we're going to focus on in our today's session. The rest of them are just examples I wanted to touch base just to set the context of the session. Now we spoke about the Power Apps, model driven, and the Canvas app. Now let's talk about the Power BI. Now Power BI again, it's Microsoft, and it's one of the top Gartner rated application when it comes to the reporting. So using Power BI, we can create highly interactive reports with a very rich visuals, and very interactive for the users as well. We can create many different type of reports. They can connect to several different type of data sources, including Dataverse, SharePoint, SQL, even Excel, and so on. The list goes on. There's a long list. And the beauty of the Power BI is that you can create, a lot of these reports in a very quick quick time. You don't really need to be expert in a SQL queries. In the olden days when we used to write or develop reports using SSRS, it's a lot more quicker, a lot more efficient when it comes to creating a report, and the output at the end is also very attractive for the users when it comes to using those reports because they are very rich in visuals, very interactive as well. So you can drill down all the way to the lowest level of your data through the Power BI reports. Now, talking about the Power BI reports, there are quite a few methods. Typically, the top two, import mode and a direct query mode, which we can use when it comes to suck the data and display it through the reports. Now, one of the very the common one is to the import mode, the data connectivity through an import mode, where we can schedule certain number of times to read the data from a certain data source, bring it into the Power BI service, store it within the cache or within the data center, and then
Hiram, I cannot hear you.
or the dashboards and the charts which we include within our reports. So this is one of the very common way of pulling a data and then displaying it through the reports. The second method, and this is what we're going to talk about more today, is a direct query mode. So sometime last year, I remember Microsoft has enabled it for the Power Apps as well, the direct query mode. That now so the direct query mode, in summary, is about, instead of you pull the data into the data set, it's a live connection between your report and your data source. So you don't really have to configure any schedule jobs to refresh your data sets. Instead, it just look into your data set in the pretty much in a live manner and update your report. So as soon as you have your data repository updated, say like you enter new record into your data set, your report should display that information with very quickly without waiting for any refresh job to run first. So that's these are the two main data connectivity modes. There is another one, live connect, which but that's very limited to, I believe, just three type of data sources. So we're not going to talk about this one. We're going to focus more on the data query, and that's what our session is about as well. Now, how we can use the direct query mode within the Power Platform. So last year, Microsoft has introduced the TDS endpoint for the Power Apps as well. It was in preview. Now it's no more in preview. I have checked lately. It's pretty much live and has been introduced to, I guess, all the regions now. Uh, let me just bring my yep, and this is this is a prerequisite for the Power BI report to use a direct query data connectivity with Power Apps, that the TDS endpoint needs to be enabled. Now, how are we going to do this? I'll show you in a while, but that's one of the prerequisites, uh, and which is live now, by the way. And TDS is tabular data stream, and that basically enables this data direct query between the Power Apps and the Power BI. Uh, so this was pretty much what my slides about, and let's now jump into the demo of my solution. If I stop this, if I refresh this. So before I actually start, I would like to, so one of the prerequisite which I wanted to I would like to show you first as well. So if I'll just wait for page to load. So this is if you go into the environments, the admin center of an environment, which has already been, I have already opened it here. And if you select your environment and go into the settings of your environment, there is an option here, TDS Endpoint, which requires to be enabled. As you can see, even this is required for Power BI. If you are planning to use a direct query mode, if you're planning to connect a direct query mode, then that's what you need to enable. So this is the first thing you need to make sure that it has been enabled uh, before you go to the next step. So in our case, I have already enabled the TDS endpoint, and it's all good now. The second thing is I have created a data set up, a table um, to show you to use in my demo. So it's a very simple table. I have named it as a project. So I'm going in the and I've also entered some dummy data to show you. So this is some of the data I have already entered, and this is what we're going to use while uh, between the Power BI and the Power App. So all my data is sitting in here. Now, how we can create a Power BI report using a direct query mode with the Power Apps. So the easiest way or the quickest way is if you can go into the data, and within the table section, there is an option here under the data saying Analyze in Power BI. If you click this, this will download this PBIS, this template file for you to use to establish a connection in a Power App using a
Karim, we cannot hear you. Hello, Karim.
heavy and is counter the remote control.
Karim, your voice just break before a few minutes. So can you repeat your last two lines, please?
Sure. So what I was talking and what I was demoing here is that in order to create a Power BI environment, you can go into the tables, use this option Data Analyze in Power BI, and this will download a Power BI template for you with the direct query mode enabled. That's what I was talking. And then while going through this, let me just bring it up here. So I have double clicked on this. It's loading on a second screen, and I'm just waiting for this to finish loading so that I can bring it up here. So once this the template has been fired up and my Power BI desktop is all up and running. You can see it is giving me an option to choose the data set which I would like to use in my report. So if I just simply search by the data set which I have already created in my environment, which is this one. So if I can select, and I'll just simply load. I'm just waiting for this Power BI to establish a connection, load this data set, and for some reason, because it's automatically on my second screen, just waiting for this to finish uploading so that I can move it back into my this screen. Okay, finally, it's been loaded. So we're not going to create a report right now. I've already created a report because I know working with Power BI, especially in this live demo session, becomes difficult sometimes because it takes, sometimes it just takes a while to load up data and all of this. So what I wanted to show is that once connected and once I have selected my data set, which you can see is sitting here on the right hand side with all the fields available, um, it has, when I have opened it and selected an option, it's connected as a direct query mode, which means that as soon as any data will be refreshed back in my, Dataverse, uh, it should all display here. Now, I'm not going to create a report now. I've already created a report. So I'll just bring it up just before this. And I'll just simply open it up.
Kharim, we cannot hear you. Our speaker has lost his connection. He is joining in few minutes.
Hello. Hello. I'm not sure if you guys can still hear me or see my screen. It looks like the connection was
Yeah, connection lost. So now we can hear you and see your screen.
okay. Thanks for that. Uh, okay. Sorry about all of this inconvenience. I'm not sure what's happening with my internet. Although it's a very quiet time, everyone is sleeping. No one is using any iPad or any streaming at my place. But let's continue with this. So just before we have lost the connection, I was showing you that how we can download a template, a Power BI template, which can help us create a direct query connection with our Power Apps, or the Dataverse, the solution we have created. And I had also shared that instead of creating a report from scratch, I have already created a report and publish it into my Power BI workspace, because we're not going to talk about lot about how to create a reports. As you can see, it's a pretty simple report which I have created, and it has been published to my workspace, and it's all up and running. As you can see, there is some data, like total 6 projects sitting in my data repository, and I have some budget and actuals defined. So as you can as we all know, the reports, when we create a report using a Power BI, they are a read-only reports. So which means that we can view our data here, although it's a direct query connection. But if we have to make any changes to our data, we either need to go back to our Dataverse. Like I can either directly go into my table, go into my data tab data tab of my table, and enter some records, either directly here or through a model driven app, if I have if I have published a model driven app. So in either way, we can't do this through the same window. And imagine how amazing it could be if we can do all of this through the same window. And this is where the Power App integration comes into the play, that create we can use a Power App visual within the Power BI report in order to create a multi-phase kind of an application where we can view our data through Power BI, and at the same time try to update the data while without going away from the same screen. So that's the kind of a goal we are going to try to achieve through this during this session. So as you can see, we have a simple report, few visuals, table visual here, few cars, pie chart, and a graph here. There is a visual within a Power BI called Power Apps for Power BI. If I use this visual, and let me just make it maximize. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's tell you that what you need to do in order to start with a Power Apps within a Power BI. First thing is uh, we have to select the columns of our data set which we would like to use within our Power Apps. So now this is important, that any column which we're going to use are the columns we will be able to interact with when we'll start creating a Canvas app. So here, if I can quickly select few of the columns which I have created within my table, which is phase name and project type. Because I have created them, I remember which columns I had to use. So these are the 5 columns I would like to use within my Power App. And the second option is that either I can use one of an existing app or I can create one. So I choosing an option of creating a new app. Excuse me. If you do this, it will take you to the Maker Studio. Now, what you're going to notice is the Maker Studio is the same, which whoever has dealt with Canvas app, creating any Canvas app, it's the same Maker Studio where it is navigating us to. So once it will load, I'll show you a few of the interesting things and how we're going to use it within our Canvas app. So once it's loaded, what you can notice here is that under our preview, the very first thing is a Power BI integration component. Now, this is a component which is going to provide us, the data which we have in our Power BI report. So imagine this as this is instead of your Canvas app is connecting to a data source, directly within data source as a Dataverse. We are connected with the Power BI directly right now using this Power BI integration component. So this app, you can look it into this way. This app is running under the context of a Power BI right now. which is the whole, the beauty of it, that it is running under the context of Power BI, which means that we will be able to use, the data, coming through the Power BI within this app. Now, how we going to do this? Let's just have a quick demo, and I'm also a bit mindful of our time, which we have lost because of this data connections and all. So once we have this app up and running, you can see in my screen one, we have a gallery here. Let's just make some quick changes to our gallery. Let me just